Today we are going to be talking to you about how to beat the press on FC24 with you using specifically your fullbacks and the switches of the play, and then also how right stick switching, partial team press and second man press can be used in the defensive areas. This is taken from a coaching session with a student. I have muted the student's responses, so you will see me ask them a question and then kind of go straight into the next point. But let's go ahead and let's jump into it. You kind of bailed yourself here. So for me, obviously you're playing against two players here, which is, you know, difficult in itself anyway. On FC24, I'd be very careful about this pass there. When you receive the ball with your centre backs, it should almost be about you going out to the fullbacks and kind of using the space to drive out. Now you go for that. Can you already see how these players are just all pressing you and kind of making it really difficult? So you do really, really well here to just lay this ball off and get it gone. So well done for that, first of all. You did really good. And then we do give it away. Okay, so talk to me here. What's your thought process between what you think about when you have the ball here with Mendy? How do you want to play out? So what you have to remember in the 4-3-2-1, the wings are actually a bit difficult, right? Because you normally, if you were saying a 4-4-2 here, you'd probably have a winger like this. Vinny would be out here ready for you to pass into. So because you're playing the 4-3-2-1, the only way you can really drive the wings is by Mendy running himself up there, okay? Because you don't always have that simple pass. Your pass into your wingers would almost be into the centre mid, then into the left forward, or straight into the left forward, which can be quite difficult to find in the 4-3-2-1. In this scenario, you know, if we take a look at this year on the game, there's this automatic AI press and automatic overload ball side. So what we always want to try and do is break the half into two, okay? So this up here is half one, and then this down here is half two. If you look already, I mean, I know you can't see the mini map too well. The ball was just in the middle of the park and you've just passed it out to Mendy. Can you count very quickly how many black shirts you can see in half one and how many black shirts can you see in half two? Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, Grealish here is basically just coming over. So what it means, because of this automatic overload ball side, wherever the ball is, the opponent's team is going to congest the ball. So in this moment, it's obviously half two. What it actually means for us then, especially in 4-3-2-1, is sometimes you might want to get this ball out and then go for a big switch over to the right back. You see how Kyle Walker's just absolutely free. Now, we can go into Van Dijk and then Van Dijk can go wide, but we don't want to go. I support West Brom. This is something West Brom have been guilty of for years, is going into Van Dijk, then into your right centre back, and then into your right back. And that is so much slower than either going straight to the right back or into Van Dijk and then into the right back. All right. So don't go done, done, done. Just go done or done, done, and then out on that way. Why? Well, because it's just where it's going to give us the room and space. You can already see how congested this is. You end up trying to force that ball and then give that one away. This is all fine. You know, you don't pull Mendy out. You keep the back four in a good position. Pretty happy with this. You second man press there briefly with Vinny and then let go. Right now, what do you think you can do here? Is there anything you think when you look at this that you would want to try and help out with? Anything you want to try and stop the opponent having it as easy as he does? Yeah, you could go Vinny. You could bring Vinny back into there. Is there anything we could maybe do with De Jong? Yeah, we could pull De Jong in as well. And one of the things that other players might do, which I'm guilty of this, but this isn't, you know, something we'd always want to do, is they might switch into Van Dijk. And what they might be switching into Van Dijk for is to basically get ready for either that pass into there, then into this player, or him to drive, or De Jong to then look for a Travella, but basically to try and marshal this area. That can be good if we manage to kind of get De Jong back goal side, but that's more of like an aggressive player, more of a high level player, I would say, in this area. But you can agree that when we look at this back line and this midfield line, there is a lot of space for him to operate in here. So how do we stop that? How do we try and keep that back line and that midfield gap as minimal as possible? It's about in these sort of areas. How comfortably you're right stick switching? Yeah, definitely something, because basically, you know, if I'm asking you to say grab Vinny or De Jong right now, it is physically not possible for you to grab those players by just tapping L1. If you tap L1, it's going to change you to Van Dijk. If once you've changed to Van Dijk, you then tap L1 again, it will more than likely, because you know that's the second defender switch icon, meaning if you tap L1, that's who it will go to. If you change to Van Dijk, That second defender switch icon will then probably just be on Mendy, and then it will go back onto Van Dijk and so on. So you basically here just be switching in between these two players. It'd be very difficult to get these. So this is where we would have to right stick switch. Now, obviously, you've probably heard me speak about this before, multiple times, in how right stick switching. Are you on player relative or ball relative, do you know, in your controller settings? Player. Okay, that's fine. So player relative means the center of your right analog stick is Mendy. So if you treat your right analog stick like a clock, if I wanted to change the Van Dijk here with right stick switching, where do we have to push that right analog stick? Yeah, exactly. If I wanted to change to De Jong, where would I have to push the right analog stick? About 10, or let's say. Now, I'm sure you can see that switch and that switch. If you actually, if you grab your controller right now, how close are these three switches here on your right analog stick? They're very close, aren't they? The right analog stick's small. It's not big. So this is where people get wrong with right stick switch, and this is why they have troubles with it, is they basically want to say change to De Jong here, but then they might accidentally change to this player because they just pushed it that little bit too far, or they pushed it a little bit too low and they end up changing to Vinny. Now, that's not necessarily a problem. If you change to Vinny here, you go, okay, now how do I fix it? Again, going back to what we spoke about, if he's now the center of the clock, now where do I push the stick to change to De Jong? Exactly. Now, that all right now in a screenshot sounds super easy. It sounds so easy because it's as simple as just doing that. Where the problem lies is basically identifying, if you wanted to change to this man, but you change to that man, actually noticing where is the triangle. And if you spot that as quick as you can, then you can correct with your switch. Now, the other thing is that if you are miles off your switch and you don't get where you wanted to go, you can just tap L1 and it will bring you back to the person that's closest to the ball. And in that way is a very quick way to kind of rectify it. So right stick switching already, we can see why it would have its benefits, because in this area, we could now grab De Jong back, get De Jong back goal side to ready to try and basically reduce the gap between the centre back and the CDM. Another thing you could do in this area is you could double tap and then hold R1. So you tap it twice, and then on the second tap, you hold it, which is the partial team press. Have you ever used that on FC24? No. Okay. So basically, you've got two things. If you just if you just hold R1, you'll have second man press, which is what we just saw with Vinny, where if you say switch to Van Dijk here with L1, and you then hold R1, it will second man press. It means it will grab the player closest to the ball to press the ball holder. So this would be Mendy. So you know what you're doing now? The AI would do it for you, but you would then be on Van Dijk. So that's second man press by just holding R1. You have 4 seconds. You'll see a green triangle come above the player's head. I'll just show you it here with Vinny. There. So you see that little green triangle? That's you holding the R1 button. So that means that Vinny right now, if you carried on holding it, would run all the way back and he would keep pressing the ball holder for 4 seconds. Once that triangle disappears and it goes like red, it means think of it like an energy bar. Like it's gone, it's depleted. He can't do it anymore. He then needs like a few minutes in game to kind of, regain the energy to be able to do that. Now, the other thing that we just spoke about was the partial team press, which is where you double tap and then on the second tap, you hold the R1 button. Now, what this means is it will grab 2 players and they will basically pick up a runner and get touch tight. So if I was looking at this screenshot here, who would I imagine the game would get onto? Van Dijk would pick up his player, which is there, and it would either be Vinny or De Jong picking up this player. It could also be this player and that player. But what it will basically do is it will pull players back and make them essentially work harder to get back into defensive zones. It's really strong, especially when people drive into this area for the cutbacks. It's really good there as well. What it then means is because basically they pick up a player, you would then keep the manual pressure on the ball holder like you do now with Mendy. Okay, so those are the few different options we could have done in this area to try and stop the opponent from getting in. I'm just going to take a look here on your switching on what you do. So you tap L1, and then you tap L1 again. Okay, and then you end up getting on that wrong player. Okay, so these switches here, you tap L1, it gets you to Vinny, and then you go into De Jong. This is where right stick switching could be really beneficial for you as well. If you take a look in your controller settings, there are different settings for where you want this second defender switch icon on. You can have it set closest to the ball, meaning whoever is the closest to the ball is where it'll be for L1. You can have it so it's goal side, so it has to be someone that's goal side of the ball. So here it would be Van Dijk, and then you can have it as classic, which is the default setting, which is what I run mine on, where it will grab someone, in my eyes, someone that's goal side and closest to the ball. So it would be someone on this side of it, which again would be Van Dijk in that area. All right, does that make sense? Brilliant. Fortunately enough, Alisson makes a big save. If you want to book in your own coaching session, head over to alexbeeofficial.com for more information. Thank you all for watching, and click this video right here if you want some more FC24 help.